I'm Dan Salzer with Plymouth State Broadcasting. In this week's Coach's Corner, I'm joined by men's and women's track and field and cross country coach John Ostler. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Another fantastic indoor season, both for the men's and women's teams. How much have the teams progressed from last year being the first year with the men's program back and the first year in the women's history to this season?
I'm pleased with the progress. The goals are pretty standard. Having built new programs here basically from scratch, there's not a lot of expectations, but what we do want to see is improvement from year to year, and we had that on both sides. It was tangible on the men's side. We moved up a couple places in our league championship. We had more people qualified for the New England Division III championships and so on. And so, we had a lot of measurable evidence that we were able to progress. On the women's side, it was the same thing. We weren't able to move up in the LEC championship, but we did score more points. And again, we've got, about 12 people qualified for our Division III New England championships, which far exceeds, I think, the 4 that we had the previous year. So by a lot of measures, we took an appropriate step forward, something I'm very pleased with, getting into the second year of our team.
Speaking of those goals, was it more kind of the overall season expectations, as you were kind of mentioning a little bit? And did you accomplish those, as you said, a little bit, but or was it more focused individual and qualifying times?
Yeah, well, that's kind of the neat thing about track and field is that it's very individualized to start with. We don't really formulate a lot of team goals until we kind of see what we have. We spend the first part of our season qualifying individuals, assessing who can do what in each event, and from there, once we have a sense of who's going to be qualified for what meets, then that's when we kind of make our team goals. So it's kind of nice. It's a little bit of a combination of both. And then, of course, as we get past our league championship and our regional championship, then we turn our attention back to the individual side of things. So, we kind of use the individual statistics and the individual marks to kind of drive our team setting goals that usually formulate an indoor track sometime around February.
Speaking of that great season that you guys had, you were able to qualify Sam Burnett for the NCAA Division III championships in the 3,000 meter. From a coach's standpoint and a coach's point of view, what was that experience like going to Illinois and helping him coach individually for that race?
Boy, it was terrific. I'll start with the fact that qualifying for that race was such a good kind of award for Sam in itself. He is a very dedicated, passionate athlete. He deserves a lot of the accolades that he receives. And so to be able to kind of be recognized as one of those top athletes in the country is terrific in itself. And of course, he's a sophomore. It's never guaranteed that you can go back to that meet, but I think he would agree with me if he was here. We have aspirations to go back multiple times here over the course of his junior and senior season. And so for him to be able to get that experience, to see what it's like to race at that level, to race against that competition, and the lights are a little bit brighter, the stands are a little bit bigger and more packed with people than maybe our regular season meets. And so that gives him an opportunity to really kind of go back there and just kind of focus on the task at hand these subsequent times he qualifies. And from a coach's standpoint, maybe the best thing is that he's going to come back and tell his teammates what a great experience it was. And that was the thing that made me so proud about the trip, was that by the time it was over, he was talking about what it's going to take to qualify a distance medley, all the other teammates that he has that can possibly qualify in individual events, and he wants to bring a bigger group back next year. And so he's going to spend the next spring semester, the rest of the spring semester, talking about what it takes to get there. And so that's really kind of, for me, the best part is that this just kind of like keeps the momentum going.
Seems like the indoor season was a long one, but we finally get to turn the page to the outdoor season. May not feel like spring outside, but right now, how are both the men's and women's teams shaping up for the spring season?
Great. Again, like you said, it was a long indoor season, so it's a tough balancing act over this month here. The month of March is equal parts rest, and it's also very much kind of like building our strength and endurance back up again. But our kids are really doing well. They're attacking practices with the passion of, the same type of passion that we had in November when they were hungry to get going at the start of the year. So we add a couple new events. The throwers get to kind of, unfurl a little bit and throw a little bit farther, and outdoor with the discus and the javelin and that type of thing. So everybody has different things that they're kind of looking forward to, and kind of created a new hunger to kind of restart this track season for outdoor. So the practices are going really well, and I see no reason why we can't make improvements on last year's performances at LEC the same way we did in indoor.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. Best of luck in the spring season.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Anytime.